My name is Victoria Hayes. I'm 31, and 5 months ago, a semi ran a red light and shattered my femur into 7 pieces. I came to in the ICU with morphine in my veins and fog in my head. I couldn't sit up, couldn't think straight, couldn't even hold a pen without shaking. My father was already there, papers in hand, a power of attorney, my $230,000 settlement. He said he'd handle everything, protect it, pay my bills, keep my future intact while I learned how to walk again. So I signed, because I was trapped in that bed, because he was my father. For 5 months I believed him. I let the rehab consume me. I let the pain set the rules. I didn't look too closely, because I didn't want to believe I had to. Then one morning, before the sun was even up, my phone rang. Dr. Reeves called at 6:18 a.m. Let me tell you something about doctors calling before 7 in the morning. It's never good news. Never. I was awake anyway. Pain has a way of making sleep optional. My right leg throbbed in that deep, bone-level way that no pill could touch anymore. 5 months since the accident. 5 months of physical therapy, of learning to walk again, of watching my savings evaporate while I couldn't work. I answered on the second ring. Victoria, it's Dr. Reeves. His voice had that careful tone doctors use when they're about to ruin your day. I got your latest imaging back. We need to talk about your femur. My hand tightened on the phone. How bad? A vascular necrosis. The bone tissue is dying. Without blood flow, we're looking at collapse of the femoral head. He paused. I could hear him choosing his words. We need to operate within 72 hours. Maybe less. 72 hours. 3 days to save my leg. What's the damage? I asked, though I already knew the answer would be catastrophic. $125,000. Insurance won't cover it. They're calling it a complication of your pre-existing accident injury. I closed my eyes. My settlement. The $230,000 I'd received 3 months ago from the trucking company whose driver had run a red light and destroyed my life. The money my father was managing for me because I'd been too drugged up on oxycodone to handle my own finances. Okay, I said. I'll need to access my settlement account. Victoria, I need to be clear. If we don't operate in the next 10 to 14 days, you're looking at a hip replacement before you're 35, or worse. Worse. He meant amputation. He didn't say it, but I heard it. I hung up and opened my banking app with shaking hands. The account my father had set up as trustee. The account that was supposed to protect my future while I healed. Balance. $35,000. I stared at the number, blinked, refreshed the app. $35,000 from $230,000 in 2 months. My chest went cold. This wasn't possible. This had to be an error, a glitch, something. I called my father, once, twice, 3 times before he answered. Victoria, honey, it's early. Where's my money? My voice came out flat. Calm. The kind of calm that happens when your brain can't process the catastrophe it's witnessing. Silence. Then, in the background, I heard her. Brenda, my stepmother. Her voice, muffled but insistent. Your money is fine, Dad said, but his voice had that quality, that guilty, caught quality. I'd heard 1,000 times growing up when he'd forgotten a recital or missed a graduation because of something more important. Dad, I have $35,000 in the account. I should have $230,000. Where is it? Another pause, longer this time. We invested it, he said finally. In Austin's company, Game Launch Studios. It's a mobile gaming startup. Really promising, Victoria. The returns... You invested my medical settlement in Austin's startup? Austin, Brenda's son from her first marriage. My 23-year-old stepbrother, who'd dropped out of 3 different degree programs and whose greatest accomplishment to date was 50,000 Instagram followers. It's a family investment, Brenda's voice cut in. She'd grabbed the phone. Victoria, you need to understand. Austin has been here for you these past months. He's been part of this family, supporting you. You should know how to share. Share. I looked down at my leg, at the scars running from my hip to my ankle, at the metal hardware holding my bones together, at the crutches leaning against my bed. How much? I asked. How much what? How much did you give him? Silence. Dad, I said, how much of my settlement did you transfer to Austin? $195,000. His voice was barely a whisper. But Victoria, you have to understand. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From something colder. Something that felt like understanding settling into my bones the way the pain had. I pulled up the transaction history. February 14th, Valentine's Day. While I was in the ICU recovering from my first surgery, barely conscious, my father had wired $195,000 to Game Launch Studios LLC. Not after I asked for it. Not as a recent decision. 6 weeks ago. Before I even knew I'd need the money for this surgery. I had 72 hours to find $125,000, or I'd lose my leg. And my father, the man who'd promised to protect me, who I'd trusted with every dollar of my future, had already made his choice. He'd chosen his wife's son over his own daughter. I sat there in the pre-dawn darkness, my phone still in my hand, and felt something shift inside me. They thought I was weak because I couldn't walk. They were about to learn the difference between standing on your feet and standing up for yourself. If you've ever felt your family betray you when you needed them most, stay with me, because this story isn't over. It's barely begun. Let me take you back to November 18th, 4:32 p.m., the intersection of Indian School Road and 32nd Street in Phoenix. That's when my life split into two versions, before and after. Before, I was Victoria Hayes, physical therapist at Desert Wellness Clinic. I spent my days helping people recover from accidents, teaching them to walk again, to trust their bodies again. I was good at my job. I loved my job. Ironic, right? I remember my last patient that day, a little girl named Lily, 4 years old, recovering from a leg fracture. She'd been so scared she'd never run again. You will, I'd promised her. I'll make sure of it. 2 hours later, a semi-truck ran a red light going 55 miles per hour. My Honda Civic didn't stand a chance. They had to use the jaws of life to cut me out. 40 minutes of metal grinding and my own screaming. Compound fracture of the right femur. Spinal trauma. Internal bleeding. The EMT kept asking me, "Can you feel your legs? Ma'am, can you feel your legs?" I couldn't. I woke up 3 days later in the ICU. Morphine drip. Machines beeping. And my father sitting beside my bed, looking like he'd aged 10 years. "Baby girl," he said, and his voice cracked. "Thank God." He was holding papers. I was too foggy to understand what they were. "The settlement money is going to come through," he explained, "from the trucking company. Their lawyer already called. But honey, you can't manage this right now. Look at you. You can barely keep your eyes open." I was on morphine. 10 milligrams an hour through an IV. Oxycodone tablets every 4 hours. The nurse's notes would later show I'd asked the same question 6 times in an hour. I couldn't remember my own address. "I need you to sign a power of attorney," Dad said. "Just temporary, until you're better, so I can manage the settlement for you. Keep it safe, make sure it's there for your recovery." The pen felt heavy in my hand. "Dad," I slurred, "you'll protect it? For my medical bills?" "I'll protect it with my life, Victoria. Blood doesn't betray blood. I'm your father." I signed. December came. I moved into my father's house because I couldn't climb stairs to my apartment. Because I couldn't shower without help. Because I couldn't cook, couldn't drive, couldn't be alone. Brenda had converted the downstairs living room into a bedroom for me. Large windows overlooking the backyard, overlooking their pool. "We'll take care of you like you're our own daughter," Brenda said, smoothing the blanket over my legs. She emphasized the word like. "Not because you are. Like." But I was grateful. Or I thought I should be grateful. That's what good daughters do, right? Show gratitude. I didn't know I was walking into a trap. No, that's wrong. I couldn't walk at all. I was wheeled into a trap. Brenda loved the word family. She used it like a weapon. Family means sacrifice, Victoria. This was at dinner, 3 weeks into my stay. I'd asked why Austin was sitting at the head of the table. That had been my spot growing up. The spot Dad always saved for me. Austin lives here full-time, Brenda explained, as if that settled it. You're just visiting until you heal. Just visiting, in my father's house, the house I'd grown up in. I was sitting at the far end of the table, the spot where guests sat. Family means showing up, Brenda continued, serving Austin an extra portion of chicken. Austin has been here every day, helping with your care. I wanted to laugh. Austin had been in my room exactly 3 times. Once on Thanksgiving, because Dad had insisted on a photo for Facebook. Once to borrow my laptop because his was acting weird. Once to grab a package that had been delivered to the wrong address. Total time, maybe 3 hours and 20 minutes over 5 months. But pointing that out would make me ungrateful, difficult, not a team player. So I said nothing. You know, Brenda said casually, cutting her chicken with precise movements. Family is about giving without expecting return. That's what real love looks like. I noticed Dad wasn't looking at me. He was focused on his plate like it held the secrets of the universe. The manipulation was so smooth I almost didn't catch it. Almost. When April came and I needed the surgery money, Brenda's response was surgical in its cruelty. After everything we've done for you? She didn't yell. Yelling would have been easier to fight. Instead, she looked hurt, disappointed. Victoria, we've opened our home, adjusted our lives, given you round-the-clock care. Austin has sacrificed his social life to be here for you. And now you want to… what? Take away his one chance at success? It's my medical settlement, I said. For my medical expenses. It's family money, she corrected. And family takes care of each other. Then why… I stopped myself. Took a breath. Why wasn't I consulted before Dad transferred $195,000? You were consulted, Dad said quietly. He still wasn't looking at me. Remember? We talked about investments, about making the money work for the family. I didn't remember that conversation. I would have remembered that conversation. When? I pressed. February. You were having a hard time then, the pain medication. I was in the ICU in February, Dad. I was unconscious for half the month. Brenda's smile didn't waver. See, this is what I'm talking about. The medications are affecting your memory, Victoria. You're not thinking clearly. You're being paranoid. There it was, the gaslighting playbook, Chapter 1. Make them doubt their own reality. I need $125,000 for surgery, I said, keeping my voice level. Dr. Reeves says I have less than 2 weeks or I might lose my leg. Austin's company is in a critical growth phase, Brenda said. He can't withdraw capital right now. It would tank the whole operation. Surely you understand that business requires… I might lose my leg. You're being dramatic. She said it kindly, gently, the way you'd talk to a confused child. Dr. Reeves is being conservative. You're young, you're resilient. You'll be fine. Austin, on the other hand, has a narrow window for this opportunity. This is his moment. I looked at Dad. Is that how you see it? He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Brenda. Victoria, he said finally, you're a smart woman. You understand that sometimes the right thing feels hard. This is an investment in our family's future. Austin's success lifts all of us, including you. I just need my medical money back. It's locked in the company, Dad said. We can't just… You transferred it in one day. You can transfer it back. Silence. Brenda pulled out her phone, started scrolling through photos, turned it to face me. Austin pushing my wheelchair. Austin helping me into the car. Austin bringing me water. 15 photos. 20. All carefully curated moments of care. This is what family looks like, Victoria. Austin has been here every single day. He's earned his place in this family. I stared at the Thanksgiving photo, the one Dad had directed like a film shoot. Austin, stand behind her. Put your hand on the wheelchair. Smile. No, bigger smile. This needs to look natural. 20 different angles of the same 30-second interaction. Family is who shows up, Brenda said, echoing her favorite phrase. And honey, Austin showed up. Now it's your turn to show up for him. I left the room, hobbled back to my converted living room bedroom, opened my notes app, listed every time Austin had shown up. November 25th, Thanksgiving, 30 minutes, forced photo op. December 10th, 15 minutes, borrowed laptop. January 3rd, 20 minutes, wrong package delivery. Total, 3 visits, 1 hour, 5 minutes. The hospital visitor log I'd requested last week told a different story. Rachel Cooper, my best friend, 12 visits. My coworkers from the clinic, 18 visits. My college friends, 10 visits. Aunt Susan, Dad's sister, 5 visits. Austin Walsh, 0 visits. Kenneth Hayes, my father, 2 visits. Brenda Walsh, 0 visits. Family is who shows up. Brenda was right about that. She just didn't realize she was proving my point. This wasn't new. I'd been the backup plan for 5 years. I just hadn't wanted to see it. Let me show you the pattern. June 2016, my college graduation. Summa cum laude, 4 years of straight A's. I'd been accepted into a competitive physical therapy program. This was supposed to be my day. Dad arrived 45 minutes after the ceremony ended. I'd already turned in my cap and gown. The stadium was half empty. "Sorry, baby girl," he said, not quite meeting my eyes. Austin needed a laptop for his summer classes. The store was across town, you understand. I understood. Dad bought Austin a $2,800 MacBook Pro that day. For summer classes Austin would drop out of 6 weeks later. I walked across that stage alone. September 2017. I asked Dad for a $5,000 loan, security deposit, and first month's rent for an apartment near the clinic. I'd just landed my first real job. I needed to be close to work. Early mornings, late nights. "I don't have it, Victoria," Dad said. "Money's tight right now." 2 weeks later, Brenda posted on Facebook, a brand new Jeep Wrangler in the driveway. Austin leaning against it, throwing a peace sign. Caption: Proud mom moment. Austin needs reliable transportation for his new job. Hashtag, blessed hashtag, my boy. The Jeep cost $28,000. I lived with Rachel for 3 months, sleeping on her couch, until I'd saved enough for my own place. When I asked Dad about the Jeep, he said, "Austin needs a car for work, Victoria. You can take the bus. You're young. You're resilient." Resilient. I was hearing that word a lot. April 2019. I got engaged to Jason. We planned a small engagement party. Nothing fancy, just family and close friends. Dad offered to host. "My daughter's getting married," he said, hugging me. "Let me do this for you." 1 week before the event, Brenda called. "Honey, we have to cancel. Austin's grad school tuition is due and Kenneth had to help him out. We just can't afford the party right now. You understand?" The venue deposit was non-refundable, $1,200. I had to eat the cost. Austin dropped out of grad school 1 semester later. The tuition Dad paid? Wasted. Jason and I broke up 6 months after that. Unrelated to the family drama. Or maybe not unrelated. Maybe I was already learning that I came second. Maybe I was already practicing for disappointment. 3 times. 3 times I made excuses. Blended families take time, I told myself. Dad loves me. He just shows it differently. I'm being selfish, I'm being ungrateful, I need to be more understanding. I gave him 5 years, 5 years of being the easy daughter, the one who didn't complain, the one who understood. And when I needed him most, when I was lying in a hospital bed with metal rods in my bones and terror in my heart, he took the 5 months of my recovery and sold them for his wife's approval. $195,000. That's what my future cost. No, that's wrong. That's what Austin's present cost. I was just the one who paid. April 3rd, 10:15 a.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I'd been getting spam calls all week, credit card offers, extended warranties, the usual digital noise, but something made me pick up. Ms. Hayes, this is Helen Crawford. I'm your father's financial advisor. I sat up straighter, immediately regretted it as pain shot through my hip. Helen, hi. Is everything okay? That's what I need to talk to you about. Are you free to meet? In person? Today, if possible? The urgency in her voice made my stomach drop. What's wrong? Not over the phone, please. There's a coffee shop on Camelback and 24th. Bright Beans. Can you be there at noon? I could barely walk, but I said yes. Helen was waiting when I arrived, 60-something, steel-gray hair, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She'd been managing Dad's finances for 12 years. I'd met her at Christmas parties, summer barbecues. She'd given me a card when I graduated college. She stood when she saw me struggling with my crutches. Let me help. I've got it. We sat. She'd already ordered me a coffee. She remembered how I took it. 1 cream, no sugar. That small kindness nearly broke me. Victoria, she said, folding her hands on the table. I'm violating about 6 professional codes by being here, but I can't sleep at night knowing what I know and not telling you. She opened her laptop, pulled up an email inbox, my father's inbox. I have admin access to Kenneth's email for business purposes, she explained. 2 weeks ago, I saw something that made me concerned. She turned the screen toward me. From Brenda Walsh to Kenneth Hayes. Date, February 10th, 11:47 p.m. Subject, Austin's opportunity. Kenneth, we need to move fast on the game launch funding. Austin's partners are getting antsy. If we don't commit the $200,000 by Friday, they're going with other investors. I know you're worried about Victoria finding out, but honey, think about it logically. Victoria will be fine. She's young. She's resilient. She'll figure something out. She always does. Austin needs this now. This is his moment. This is our son's chance at real success. If you don't sign those transfer papers, I need you to understand something. I can't stay in a marriage where my son comes second to someone else's daughter. I need to know you're choosing us, choosing our family. You need to decide what matters more. I read it 3 times. Someone else's daughter. Keep reading, Helen said quietly. I scrolled down, found Dad's response. From Kenneth Hayes to Brenda Walsh. Date, February 11th, 6:22 a.m. Subject, R.E. Austin's opportunity. Brenda, you know I love Victoria. She's my daughter. But you're right. Austin is here. He's part of our daily life. Victoria has her own life, her own path. I'll sign the papers today. Please don't leave me. K. The coffee shop was spinning. There's more, Helen said. She pulled up bank statements, highlighted a transaction in red. February 14th, 2024. Wire transfer to Game Launch Studios, LLC, $195,000. Authorization, Kenneth Hayes. Power of attorney for Victoria Hayes. Processing status, completed. Valentine's Day, I whispered. I was in the ICU. I just had my first surgery. I was barely conscious. I know. Helen's voice was tight with anger. I called Kenneth that afternoon, asked him if he was sure about this transfer. It's my job to advise, Victoria. I told him, this is your daughter's medical settlement. This is not a family investment fund. This is for her recovery. What did he say? He said, and I quote, Helen, you don't understand. If I don't do this, I'll lose my wife. She closed her laptop. I've been in this business for 30 years. I've never seen a man more afraid of his spouse than his own conscience. She pushed a folder across the table. Manila. Thick. Bank statements, email threads, transfer receipts, all of it. Legally obtained through my administrative access. I'm giving this to you because I believe you'll need it. I opened the folder. Saw months of correspondence. Dad asking Brenda for permission to spend money. Brenda making demands. Austin sending wish list after wish list. Helen pulled out a napkin, wrote a name and number. Jennifer Morrison, attorney, family law and fiduciary abuse. She's the best I know. Tell her I sent you. I can't afford. She takes pro bono cases, 2 per year. Tell her your story. Trust me. I looked at this woman who'd risked her career to hand me the ammunition I needed. Why? I asked. Why are you doing this? Helen's eyes got distant, sad. Because 20 years ago, my sister trusted her husband to manage an inheritance from our parents. He gave it all to his brother's failing business. By the time she found out, it was gone. She died in debt, Victoria. Medical debt. Because her husband chose his brother over his wife. She stood, picked up her purse. I couldn't save my sister, but maybe I can help you save yourself. She left. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the folder, at the proof, at the paper trail of betrayal. They'd planned this, not as a spur-of-the-moment mistake, as a calculated decision, while I was unconscious, while I was helpless, while I trusted my father to protect me. They'd sold my future and called it family. I pulled out my phone, dialed the number Helen had written. Morrison Law, how can I help you? My name is Victoria Hayes, I said. Helen Crawford told me to call. I need to sue my father. Dr. Reeves didn't sugarcoat it. He placed the X-ray on the light box. Even I could see the problem. Dark patches spreading through the femoral head like ink in water. A vascular necrosis, he said. The bone is dying, Victoria. Without immediate intervention, you're looking at total hip collapse. How immediate? 10 days. Maybe 2 weeks if we're lucky. After that? He pointed to the darkest area. This becomes irreversible. Hip replacement before you're 35. Possibly amputation if infection sets in. The word amputation hung in the air like a guillotine blade. And the surgery costs? He handed me the estimate, itemized, detailed, devastating. Surgical procedure, $85,000. Anesthesiology, $12,000. Hospital stay, 3 to 5 days, $18,000. Post-op physical therapy, 6 months, $10,000. Total, $125,000. Insurance coverage, $0. Reason, pre-existing conditions stemming from initial accident injury. I can't get a payment plan? I asked, knowing the answer. $4,200 a month for 3 years. The hospital requires 20% down. That's $25,000 up front. Dr. Reeves sat across from me. Victoria, I know your situation. I know about the settlement. This is exactly what that money was for. I didn't tell him the money was gone. I couldn't form the words. Instead, I went home, to Dad's house, because I still couldn't live alone, and locked myself in my converted bedroom. I stared at my phone for an hour before I called Austin. He declined. I texted, Austin, I need to talk to you about the investment. I need surgery. Can we please discuss returning some of the capital? 3 hours later, he responded, Vic, I'm in critical phase with game launch. Can't pull funds right now. Investors would freak. Talk to Dad? I called again. Blocked. I'd been blocked by my stepbrother. I checked his Instagram, posted 2 hours ago, a photo of a Tesla Model 3, shiny, new, his hand on the hood, throwing up a peace sign. Caption, new ride for new beginnings, #blessed, #startup life, #dream big. I zoomed in on the background. Phoenix Tesla dealership. I pulled up my banking app, checked Game Launch Studios' business account. Dad had stupidly given me view-only access when he set up the family investment. March 3rd. Withdrawal, $50,000. Description, owner distribution, A. Walsh. March 3rd. The same day Austin texted me, he couldn't pull funds. The same day he bought a $52,000 car. With my money. From the settlement that was supposed to save my leg. I set a timer on my phone. Countdown clock. 10 days. 240 hours. 14,400 minutes. Every hour it would alert me. A reminder that my future was ticking away while Austin drove a Tesla bought with my bones. I wasn't angry anymore. I was cold. Calculating. I had 10 days to get my life back. And I knew exactly where to start. Rachel showed up at 7 p.m. with Thai food and her laptop. Rachel Cooper. My best friend since college. The one who'd visited 12 times in the hospital. The one who'd held my hand through physical therapy sessions where I'd cried from pain and hopelessness. Blood didn't make Rachel family. Showing up did. Helen called me, Rachel said, unpacking containers of pad thai and spring rolls. Gave me the cliff notes. Vic, what the hell? I handed her the folder. She read in silence for 10 minutes. Her jaw got tighter with each page. Your dad. Kenneth Hayes. The man who coached your soccer team. Who taught you to ride a bike. Who cried at your high school graduation. She looked up. That Kenneth Hayes did this? People change when they're scared, I said. Dad's terrified of losing Brenda. More terrified than he is of losing me. Rachel's hands balled into fists. Screw that. We're getting a lawyer. We're getting your money back. And we're making sure they never do this to anyone else. She opened her laptop, made a call. Jennifer, it's Rachel Cooper. Helen Crawford gave my friend your number. Can you do a video call right now? It's urgent. 2 minutes later, Jennifer Morrison appeared on screen. Sharp eyes, professional blazer. The look of someone who'd seen it all and had stopped being shocked by human cruelty years ago. Rachel explained the situation in 5 minutes flat. Jennifer listened, didn't interrupt. When Rachel finished, Jennifer was quiet for exactly 10 seconds. Then, I'm taking your case. I don't have money for pro bono, Jennifer cut in. I do 2 cases a year, cases that matter. This is number 2 for 2024. She leaned closer to the camera. Victoria, my mother died in medical debt because my uncle convinced her to invest her cancer treatment fund in his business. I was too young to stop it, too young to even understand what was happening. Her voice didn't waver, but her eyes were steel. I couldn't save my mother, but I'm going to make damn sure you save yourself. What do we do? I asked. First, you keep every dollar you have left. Use it for immediate needs only. Second, I'm filing a civil suit tomorrow morning. Breach of fiduciary duty, undue influence. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. She pulled out a legal pad, started making notes. Third, we're going to court. Public court. Every email, every bank transfer, every lie. We're making it public record. Your dad violated his legal responsibility to you. He can cry about it in front of a judge. Rachel squeezed my hand. Chosen family, Vic. We're your real family now. Jennifer nodded. And family fights for each other. How's Tuesday for you? I want to file by 9 a.m. Tuesday, April 8th, 9:15 a.m., Maricopa County Superior Court. Jennifer filed the complaint. Case number CV2024-003891. Victoria Hayes, plaintiff, versus Kenneth Hayes, Brenda Walsh, Austin Walsh, defendants. The court clerk looked at me over her reading glasses. Ma'am, are you sure about this? Family lawsuits they're hard. They stopped being family when they stole my future, I said. She stamped the papers. Good luck, honey. I hope you get everything back. The text came from Dad at 9 a.m. the next morning. Family meeting, 6 p.m. today. We need to discuss your future. Please be home. Not a question. A command. Brenda was CC'd. Austin reacted with a thumbs up. I replied, My future is my decision. Dad. 6 p.m. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I arrived at 5:58 p.m. The living room was set up like an intervention. 6 people already seated in a circle: Dad, Brenda, Austin, Aunt Susan, Dad's sister, looking uncomfortable. Carol, Brenda's friend, never met her before. And a man I didn't recognize, badge clipped to his belt. Dr. Philip Norton, clinical psychologist. The air went out of my lungs. Victoria, please sit, Brenda said, gesturing to an empty chair in the center. The hot seat. What is this? An intervention, Dr. Norton said in that smooth, therapeutic voice. Your family is concerned about you. I looked at Dad. You brought a psychologist to ambush me? We're worried, baby girl. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. You've been acting unstable since the accident. We think the pain medication might be affecting your judgment. My judgment. You've been calling repeatedly about money, Brenda listed, ticking off fingers. 5 times in 2 days. You're not eating properly. You've lost 12 pounds. You've been hostile toward Austin. I've been asking about my money that you stole. See? Brenda looked at Dr. Norton. This is what we mean. The aggression. The paranoia. Dr. Norton opened a notebook. Miss Hayes, your family has shared some concerning behaviors. Obsessive focus on finances. Mood swings. Difficulty accepting help. These can be signs of medication interaction or post-traumatic stress. I'm not crazy. No one's saying crazy, Dr. Norton said smoothly. But we do think you're not in a position to make sound decisions right now. Your family cares about you. They want to help. Brenda pulled papers from her purse, slid them across the coffee table toward me. Voluntary psychiatric evaluation, 72-hour observation, just to make sure you're okay, Victoria, that you're safe. I picked up the papers. Kenneth Hayes' signature was already on the family consent line. Just needed mine. You want to commit me? We want to help you, Brenda said gently, kindly, the voice of a concerned mother. Once you're stable, we can talk about the money, about family, about what's really best for everyone. Translation: once you're locked up, drugged, and delegitimized, we can keep your settlement and you'll have no credibility to fight us. Austin was looking at the floor. Couldn't meet my eyes. Aunt Susan was staring at her hands. Carol was nodding along like this was all perfectly reasonable. Dr. Norton said, sometimes the people who love us see what we can't see ourselves. Victoria, your family is showing up for you. Now you need to show up for your own recovery. I looked at Dad. Really looked at him. He was crying, real tears, but he didn't speak, didn't defend me. Just sat there, letting his wife orchestrate my destruction. No, I said. Victoria. I stood up, grabbed my crutches. I'm not signing anything. I'm not unstable. I'm not paranoid. I'm a woman who trusted her father, and he betrayed me. I looked directly at Dad now. You signed away my medical fund while I was unconscious. You chose your wife over your daughter. And now you're trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm crazy for being angry about it? I picked up the papers, ripped them in half. This meeting is over. I walked out. Made it to my car before my hands started shaking, called Jennifer from the parking lot. They just tried to commit me to psych eval, I said, voice breaking. They're escalating. Good, Jennifer said, and her voice was pure steel. Let them escalate. Every move they make digs their hole deeper. Victoria, you just walked out with your power intact. You didn't sign. You didn't break. You held your boundary. I'm scared. You should be. They're dangerous. But you're not alone. Tomorrow morning, we file motion for emergency injunction. We're freezing all assets, every penny they took, and then we're going to court, public court, where they can't gaslight, where facts matter more than manipulation. I leaned my head against the steering wheel. Rachel's coming to get you, Jennifer continued. You're staying with her until trial. You don't go back to that house. You don't answer their calls. You document everything. Okay? Victoria, you did the right thing tonight. Walking out, refusing to sign, that took spine. I don't feel strong. You don't need to feel strong, you just need to keep standing, even on crutches. Jennifer's office was controlled chaos, papers everywhere, whiteboards covered in timelines, her paralegal, Alice, sorting documents into color-coded folders. Alice, this is Victoria, Jennifer said. Victoria, Alice is going to help us destroy your father's defense. Alice looked up from her laptop, smiled grimly. I've been reviewing the bank records Helen provided. Victoria, your family didn't just steal from you. They were sloppy about it. She pulled up a spreadsheet. February 14th, wire transfer, $195,000 to Game Launch Studios. Processed same day. No advisory review. No wait period. Brenda Walsh was physically present at the bank for the signing, I confirmed with Helen. Jennifer circled that date on the whiteboard. March 3rd, Austin withdrew $50,000 from Game Launch's business account. Alice clicked to another screen. Same day, 3 hours later, he purchased a Tesla Model 3 for $52,000. Cash payment. March 28th, transfer of $15,000 from Game Launch to Brenda Walsh's personal checking account. Description, consulting fee. My stomach turned. They were dividing up my money. Like pirates splitting treasure, Alice said flatly. And they left a paper trail. Jennifer pulled out another folder, medical records. December 2nd, the day you signed the power of attorney. Hospital notes show you were on morphine, 10 milligrams per hour IV drip, plus oxycodone 20 milligrams every 4 hours. She read from the file. Patient disoriented, asking repeated questions, required assistance with decision-making. Recommend no legal documents be signed without advocate present. The nurse recommended I not sign legal papers? Yes, your father had you sign anyway. That's textbook undue influence during incapacity. Any contract signed under those conditions is voidable. She put the medical records next to the bank statements. Now here's the smoking gun. Jennifer opened her laptop, pulled up an email from Helen's cache, from Austin Walsh. To Brenda Walsh. Date, February 9th, 2024, 8:14 p.m. Subject, R.E., the investment. Mom, are you sure about this? Using Victoria's money feels wrong. She's going to need it. From Brenda Walsh. To Austin Walsh. Date, February 9th, 2024, 11:32 p.m. Subject, R.E., the investment. Austin, sweetie, stop overthinking. Victoria is Kenneth's daughter, not ours. You are my priority. You are our priority. She'll figure something out. She always does. But this is your chance. Your moment. Kenneth will do what I tell him. Trust me. I read it 3 times. Not ours. She put it in writing, Jennifer said. That she never considered you family. That she manipulated your father. That this was premeditated. Alice highlighted another line. Kenneth will do what I tell him. That's admission of undue influence over the power of attorney holder. Jennifer started pacing, the way lawyers do when they're building their closing argument in real time. Here's what we have. Medical records proving you were incapacitated when you signed the POA, bank records showing unauthorized transfers, email evidence of premeditation and manipulation, witness testimony from Helen Crawford, a licensed financial advisor with 12 years of professional relationship with your father. She turned to me. Victoria, when we walk into that courtroom, we're not asking for your money back. We're proving your father committed financial elder abuse. That Brenda orchestrated fraud. That Austin knowingly benefited from stolen funds. What happens to them? Kenneth loses his power of attorney, pays full restitution plus interest, and likely faces suspension of his financial licenses if he has any. Brenda could face fraud charges. Austin's assets get frozen until he repays every dollar, with interest. And me? You get your $195,000 back, plus legal fees, plus damages for medical delay and emotional distress. Jennifer sat across from me. But more importantly, you get your voice back. They tried to silence you by calling you crazy. We're going to make them hear you in front of everyone. Alice handed me a list. 8 names. Our witnesses: Helen Crawford, Rachel Cooper, Dr. Reeves. He'll testify about the medical necessity and timeline. 3 nurses from your hospital stay, a hospital social worker who documented family dynamics, and our forensic accountant who'll walk the judge through exactly where every dollar went. And what do they have? I asked. Lies, Jennifer said simply. They have lies, manipulation, and the hope that you'll be too broken to fight back. She opened a folder, pulled out a photo. It was me, in the hospital, tubes everywhere, unconscious. This is their victim, Jennifer said. This is who they exploited. And when the judge sees this next to Brenda's email saying Kenneth will do what I tell him? She smiled, cold, professional. They're done. May 15th. I didn't sleep the night before. Not from nerves, from readiness. I'd been preparing for this moment for 6 weeks, every document memorized, every timeline rehearsed, every question Jennifer might ask. I knew the answer. Rachel picked me up at 7 a.m. You ready to watch karma happen in real time? She asked. I'm ready to tell the truth. Jennifer met us at the courthouse, navy suit, briefcase, game face. Remember, she said, we don't need the jury to like you. We need the evidence to speak for itself. Stay calm. Stay factual. Don't engage with their emotional manipulation. Courtroom B7 was packed. 25 people in the gallery. Rachel, Aunt Susan, who'd switched sides after that intervention attempt. My coworkers from the clinic. Helen Crawford. College friends. And yes, a reporter from the Phoenix Tribune. Jennifer had tipped them off. This was going to be public. On the defendant's side, Dad, Brenda, Austin, their lawyer, Mr. Patterson, a grandfatherly type in his 70s, 3 of Brenda's friends, her sister. Dad wouldn't look at me. Brenda stared straight ahead, jaw tight. Austin kept checking his phone until the bailiff told him to put it away. All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Harrison presiding. Judge Harrison entered, late 50s, sharp eyes, 28 years on the bench. Jennifer had chosen this courtroom specifically. Judge Harrison was known for 3 things: efficiency, intolerance for BS, and a particular hatred of elder/vulnerable adult abuse. Be seated. Judge Harrison opened the case file, 3 inches thick. She'd clearly read every page. This is a civil suit for breach of fiduciary duty, undue influence, and financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Counselors, I've reviewed the briefs. Ms. Morrison, you may begin. Jennifer stood, didn't look at notes, just walked to the center of the courtroom and turned to face my father. 5 seconds of silence. Then, Your Honor, I have one question for this court. When does a father stop being a father? She paused. The answer, I submit, is the moment he signs away his daughter's future for his wife's approval. Patterson objected. Your Honor, this is inflammatory. Overruled. Continue, Miss Morrison. Jennifer walked to the projector, clicked the remote. Bank statements appeared on screen. The numbers were huge, impossible to miss. Balance. December 15th, 2023, $230,000. Balance. February 14th, 2024, $35,000. Ms. Hayes received a $230,000 settlement for a catastrophic car accident. She entrusted her father, Kenneth Hayes, seated right there, to manage this fund while she recovered. This was medical money, for surgeries, for rehabilitation, for survival. Another click. Wire transfer. February 14th, 2024. Amount, $195,000. Recipient, Game Launch Studios, LLC. Authorized by Kenneth Hayes, Power of Attorney. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, while Ms. Hayes was in the ICU recovering from spinal surgery, barely conscious, Kenneth Hayes wired $195,000 to his stepson's gaming startup. Gasps from the gallery. Judge Harrison's expression didn't change, but she leaned forward. Without Ms. Hayes' knowledge, without her consent, while she was legally incapacitated. Patterson stood. Your Honor, Mr. Hayes had valid power of attorney. He was legally entitled to make investment decisions. Sit down, Mr. Patterson. You'll have your chance. Judge Harrison looked at Jennifer. Continue. Jennifer projected the medical records. Medication log, December 2nd, 2023. Morphine, 10 milligrams per hour. IV continuous oxycodone, 20 milligrams POQ, 4 hours. Nurse notes. Patient disoriented to time/place, asking repeated questions, memory impaired. Recommend no legal documents without advocate. This was Ms. Hayes' condition when she signed the power of attorney. Drugged, disoriented, unable to make informed decisions. And her father, who should have protected her, used that vulnerability to gain control of her money. Click. Austin's Tesla. Posted on Instagram. Date stamp, March 3rd. 3 weeks later, Austin Walsh, Brenda Walsh's son, withdrew $50,000 from the startup and bought himself a Tesla with Victoria's medical money. Aunt Susan audibly gasped. Kenneth, no. Judge Harrison, Ms. Hayes' family members will remain silent or be removed from the courtroom. Jennifer pulled up the email chain, the one from Brenda. February 9th. The court fell silent as Jennifer read it aloud. Victoria is Kenneth's daughter, not ours. You are my priority. Kenneth will do what I tell him. She let those words hang in the air. Not ours. Despite 5 years of claiming to be family. Despite the intervention attempt last month, where they tried to have Victoria involuntarily committed to psychiatric care to silence her complaints. Patterson shot to his feet. Objection, that's not in evidence. It is now. Jennifer pulled out the commitment papers. Voluntary psychiatric evaluation forms. Kenneth Hayes' signature already on the consent line. Prepared for an ambush intervention with a hired psychologist. The goal? Make Victoria appear unstable so her lawsuit would be dismissed as the ravings of a mentally ill person. Judge Harrison took the papers, examined them. Her jaw tightened. Mr. Patterson, your client tried to have his own daughter institutionalized to cover up financial theft? Your Honor, we believed she was... I asked a yes or no question. Patterson sat down. Jennifer turned to the gallery, made eye contact with Helen Crawford. I call Helen Crawford to the stand. Helen was sworn in. Calm, professional, unshakable. Ms. Crawford, what is your relationship to the defendant Kenneth Hayes? I've been his financial advisor for 12 years. And what happened on February 14th of this year? Kenneth came to my office requesting a wire transfer of $195,000 from Victoria Hayes' settlement account to Game Launch Studios. Did you advise him on this decision? I told him it was inadvisable. That money was Victoria's medical fund, not a family investment vehicle. I specifically said, Kenneth, this is your daughter's future. Don't do this. What did he say? Helen's voice cracked slightly. He said, Helen, you don't understand. If I don't do this, Brenda will leave me. I can't lose her. Murmurs in the gallery. Was Brenda Walsh present during this conversation? Yes, she sat next to Kenneth the entire time. Every time I tried to explain the ramifications, she would interrupt. She told me, and I quote, Victoria will be fine. She's young. Austin needs this now. Did Mrs. Walsh use the word need or want? Need. She specifically said Austin needed this opportunity, that it was his one chance. Jennifer turned to the judge. Your Honor, I'd like to admit into evidence the transaction record showing Austin Walsh withdrew $50,000 from Game Launch Studios on March 3rd, the same day he texted Victoria saying he couldn't withdraw funds, and used that money to purchase a luxury vehicle. Admitted. The Tesla purchase receipt went on screen. Next to Austin's text to me, Can't pull funds right now. Investors would freak. Side by side, same date. Jennifer didn't even need to comment. The evidence spoke. Ms. Crawford, in your 12 years working with Kenneth Hayes, had you ever seen him afraid of anyone? Yes, his wife. Objection! Patterson was red-faced now. Speculation. I'm asking what she observed, Your Honor. Overruled. Answer the question, Ms. Crawford. I watched Kenneth Hayes go from a confident, decisive man to someone who couldn't make a financial decision without checking with Brenda first. Every single time. Phone calls during meetings. Text confirmations. He was terrified of making her angry. Jennifer walked back to her table, pulled out another exhibit. Hospital visitor logs. Ms. Crawford, I'm showing you visitor records from Desert Valley Hospital, November 18th through March 1st. Can you read the names under visitors for Victoria Hayes? Helen read. Rachel Cooper, 12 visits. Various clinic co-workers, 18 visits. College friends, 10 visits. Susan Hayes, 5 visits. She paused. Kenneth Hayes, 2 visits. Austin Walsh, 0 visits. Brenda Walsh, 0 visits. The courtroom erupted. Judge Harrison's gavel came down. Bang! 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 Order! I will have order! Jennifer's voice cut through. Your Honor, the defense claimed Victoria should share with Austin because he'd been there for her. The evidence shows Austin never once visited her in the hospital. Kenneth visited twice in 4 months, but they took $195,000 of her medical money. She turned to face Kenneth directly. Mr. Hayes, would you like to explain to your daughter, while she's standing here on a surgically repaired leg that nearly had to be amputated because you gave her medical money away, would you like to explain how Austin deserved her settlement? Patterson jumped up. Objection! Counsel is testifying. Withdrawn. Jennifer smiled. Cold. I'll let the evidence testify instead. She looked at Judge Harrison. Your Honor, I'd like to call Victoria Hayes to the stand. If you've made it this far, please stay with me, because what happened next changed everything. Not just the verdict, but my entire understanding of what family means. I walked to the witness stand. No crutches today. Jennifer had insisted I try without them. Show them you're strong enough to stand, she'd said. 15 steps. My hip screamed, but I made it. The bailiff held out the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. I looked at the gallery, at Rachel, tears already in her eyes, at Aunt Susan, who mouthed, You've got this. I always have. Jennifer approached, gentle now. This wasn't about theatrics anymore. This was about truth. Victoria, in your own words, what happened after your accident? I took a breath, and I told them everything. The accident didn't take my ability to walk. My family did. They took the money I needed to heal and called it an investment. They took my trust and called it power of attorney. They took my voice and tried to call it mental illness. My eyes found Dad's. He was crying, silent tears. My father used to tell me, blood doesn't betray blood. But he was wrong. Blood can betray, when there's money in between. I turned to the judge. I wasn't strong in their eyes, Your Honor. I was convenient. A source of funds they could access while I was too weak to fight back. When I needed surgery, when I begged for my own money, they said I should share. But sharing requires 2 people giving. They only knew how to take. My voice didn't shake. It was steady, clear. They said family helps each other. But family isn't about helping yourself to someone else's future. Family is supposed to protect you when you can't protect yourself. My father had one job: keep my settlement safe until I could walk again. Instead, he sold my recovery for his wife's approval. I looked at Brenda now. You said I should know how to share. You said family is who shows up. You were right about that second part. Family is who shows up. Rachel showed up. Jennifer showed up. Helen showed up. People with no blood connection showed up 12, 15, 18 times. You know how many times you showed up? 0. But you showed up real fast when there was $230,000 to spend on your son. Austin was staring at his hands. Couldn't look at me. That $195,000 isn't just money. It's 8 months of physical therapy I can't afford. It's the surgery that could have happened in February instead of May. It's the future you sold for a gaming startup and a Tesla. I turned back to the judge. I learned something through all of this, Your Honor. I learned that boundaries aren't betrayal. Boundaries are how you protect yourself from people who see you as an ATM instead of a daughter. I learned that chosen family matters more than blood family, because blood might share your DNA, but chosen family shares your burdens. I looked at Dad one last time. Dad, if you're listening, you didn't lose your daughter today. You lost her on February 14th, the day you chose Brenda's threats over my surgery, the day you signed my future away. My voice finally cracked. I waited my whole life to be your priority. 5 years of being second to Austin, second to Brenda, second to everyone. I thought if I was patient enough, understanding enough, easy enough, you'd finally choose me. But you chose yourself. You chose your comfort over my pain, your marriage over my recovery. I wiped my eyes. So here's my boundary. I choose me. I choose my health. I choose people who show up. And I'm done waiting for you to be the father you promised to be. The courtroom was dead silent. Judge Harrison was writing notes, fast, furious. Jennifer said quietly, "Thank you, Victoria. No further questions." Patterson stood for cross-examination. "Ms. Hayes, isn't it true you have a history of conflict with your stepmother?" "Counsel." Judge Harrison's voice cut like a blade. "Sit down. I've heard enough." Patterson blinked. "Your Honor, I haven't presented our case." "You don't have a case. Sit down." He sat. Judge Harrison removed her glasses, looked at Kenneth. "Mr. Hayes, stand up." Dad stood, shaking. "Do you understand that you violated your fiduciary duty to your daughter?" Silence. "Answer the question." "Yes, Your Honor." "Do you understand that you allowed your wife to manipulate you into stealing from your own child while she was incapacitated?" His voice broke. "Yes." "Do you have anything to say in your defense?" Kenneth looked at me, opened his mouth, closed it. "No, Your Honor." Judge Harrison put her glasses back on. "I find in favor of the plaintiff. Kenneth Hayes and Brenda Walsh are ordered to return $195,000 plus 6% interest, $11,700, totaling $206,700. Payment is due within 30 days. Additionally, defendants will pay plaintiff's attorney fees, estimated at $25,000. She wasn't done. "Furthermore, I'm issuing an immediate freeze on Austin Walsh's assets until full repayment is made. The court finds that Mr. Walsh knowingly benefited from misappropriated funds and will be held jointly liable for repayment." Bang! The gavel came down. "Kenneth Hayes, your power of attorney over Victoria Hayes is permanently revoked. You are prohibited from managing anyone's finances other than your own, unless specifically authorized by this court. This court will refer this matter to the Arizona Attorney General for potential criminal investigation of financial exploitation." Bang! Court adjourned. The courtroom erupted. Rachel was hugging me, crying. Jennifer was shaking my hand, professional even now, but her eyes were bright. Across the aisle, Brenda was screaming at Kenneth. Actually screaming. "You idiot! You let her! You didn't even fight!" Kenneth just sat there, broken. Austin was on his phone, probably calling his lawyer about the asset freeze. Aunt Susan pushed through the crowd, pulled me into a hug. "I'm so sorry, Victoria. I didn't know. I didn't see, but I see now." Helen Crawford was waiting by the door, Professional as always, but she winked. Good work, Ms. Hayes. Outside the courthouse, the Phoenix Tribune reporter approached. Ms. Hayes, can I get a statement? Jennifer started to wave her off, but I stopped her. Yes, I have a statement. I looked directly at the camera. If someone in your family is stealing from you, financially, emotionally, or otherwise, it's not betrayal to set boundaries. It's survival. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to exploit you, and walking away from toxic family isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. The reporter nodded. This will run tomorrow, front page. That night, Rachel, Jennifer, and I got pizza. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She checked it, smiled. Austin's lawyer just filed motion to contest the asset freeze. Judge Harrison denied it, in writing. Her note says, and I quote, Mr. Walsh can contest this ruling when he returns the Tesla he purchased with stolen funds. We laughed. God, we laughed. For the first time in 6 months, I felt light, not because of the money, though getting it back would save my life, but because I'd spoken my truth, in front of everyone, and I'd been heard. The asset freeze hit Austin within hours. His bank accounts, frozen, his Tesla, seized by court order pending repayment, Game Launch Studios, shut down. By May 18th, 3 days after the verdict, Austin's 3 co-founders had filed suit against him for misappropriation of investor funds. Turns out, promising investors serious capital and then using that capital to buy yourself a car is, shockingly, illegal. Rachel sent me screenshots from Reddit. Someone had posted the Phoenix Tribune article to r/raised by narcissists. It had 47,000 upvotes, thousands of comments. This happened to my family too. My uncle took my college fund. Stepmom literally called her not ours. That's sociopathic. The Tesla, while saying he couldn't withdraw funds? Icon behavior getting receipts? My story had gone viral, not for entertainment, but because it was everyone's story, every scapegoat who'd been told to share, every golden child sibling who'd been bled dry and called selfish for objecting. Austin texted me at 2 a.m. on May 20th, from a number I didn't recognize. Victoria, please, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would go this far. Can we talk? I'll do anything. Just drop the lawsuit. I'll pay you back slowly, I swear. I read it, showed it to Jennifer. What do you want to do? She asked. I typed one message. You had 3 months to do the right thing. You bought a Tesla instead. Now you know what it feels like to have your future taken. I learned it from you. Block. Brenda filed for divorce June 2nd. Irreconcilable differences. She demanded half the marital assets. In Arizona, a community property state, she was entitled to it. Dad had to sell the house. $420,000 sale price. After paying off the mortgage and splitting with Brenda, he netted $210,000, which he had to give to me, plus $25,000 in legal fees. He was left with negative $28,000. Brenda took her half and moved to California, remarried within 4 months. A real estate developer. Richer than Dad. She deleted me from all social media, blocked my number. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication. Just a quiet sense of the universe correcting itself. Dad tried to call. 12 times over 2 weeks. I never answered. He left voicemails. Each one more desperate. Victoria, please. I know I was wrong. I lost everything. I lost the house, the marriage, my reputation. I lost you. Please, baby girl. I'm your father. I made a mistake. I was scared. Brenda threatened to leave and I panicked. I chose wrong. I know I chose wrong. You were right. About everything. I was weak. I let her control me. But I'm still your dad. Doesn't that count for something? Voicemail number 12. I have nothing left. No wife. No house. No savings. Just this apartment. And my regrets. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. I listened to that last one 3 times. Then I deleted all of them. Rachel asked, "Don't you want to respond? Even just to tell him off?" No. He doesn't get my words anymore. He doesn't get my time. He doesn't get me. That's cold, Vic. No. It's boundaried. There's a difference. I sent one email, June 15th. Subject line, Final communication. Dad, you didn't lose your daughter today. You lost her on February 14th. The day you chose Brenda's ultimatum over my surgery. The day you signed my future away for your comfort. I don't hate you. Hate requires energy I need for healing. But I choose me now. I choose my recovery. I choose people who show up without being legally obligated. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Boundaries are self-love. This is mine. Don't contact me again. Victoria. I hit send, blocked his email, blocked his number, closed that chapter. Austin ended up washing dishes at a Denny's on McDowell Road. His Instagram went private. His bio changed from CEO of Game Launch Studios to nothing. Someone from my clinic spotted him there, told me he looked exhausted, older. I felt a flicker of something. Not sympathy, just recognition of consequences, meeting choices. Good, I said, and meant it. The community backlash was swift. Dad's church group stopped inviting him to gatherings. He'd been a deacon. They asked him to step down. Brenda's friends, the ones who'd come to the intervention, posted vague Twitter threads about financial abuse and knowing the signs. None mentioned they'd participated in trying to gaslight me into a psych ward. Helen Crawford sent me a card. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and complete. Proud of you. Aunt Susan visited weekly, brought groceries, helped with physical therapy exercises. I should have said something at that intervention, she told me one afternoon. I knew it was wrong, but I was scared of causing family drama. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. Family isn't just blood, she said. It's who stays. I'm staying. May 25th, 7 a.m. surgery day. Dr. Reeves personally walked me through pre-op. We're going to fix this, Victoria. 6 hours, maybe 7. When you wake up, you're going to have your life back. Rachel held my hand until they wheeled me into the OR. See you on the other side, she said. Jennifer had sent flowers to my hospital room. Card read, "Get your leg back, then get your life back." I woke up in recovery at 3 p.m. Groggy, confused, in pain, but Dr. Reeves was there. We did it. The femoral head is saved. 6 months of PT, Victoria. But you'll walk, you'll run, you might even dance if you want to. I cried, not from pain, from relief. Rachel was there when they moved me to a regular room. She'd been waiting 6 hours. Your dad called the hospital, she said carefully. Wanted updates. I told them no information to anyone but your approved contacts. Thank you. Vic, I have something to tell you, and you might be mad. I raised an eyebrow. I started a GoFundMe for your post-surgery expenses, PT, medications, home care. I set the goal at $30,000. Rachel, we're at $43,000, 680 donors. Most are strangers who read the Tribune article. Some are your patients. Some are people who've been through the same thing. She showed me her phone, comment after comment. My father did this to me too. $500 for your recovery. Stepmothers like Brenda gave me PTSD. Here's $200. You inspired me to set boundaries. Thank you. $1,000. I couldn't speak. Chosen family, Rachel said softly. Bigger than you knew. I hired Amanda Peterson as my caregiver. 50 years old, certified, kind, no nonsense. And she'd known my mother before Mom died when I was 12. Your mama would be so proud of you, Amanda said, helping me with physical therapy exercises. Standing up to Kenneth like that. Setting boundaries. Your mama tried to teach him that. He never learned. You knew my parents? Honey, I was your mama's best friend. I saw how Kenneth changed after he married Brenda. Saw how he stopped showing up for you. Broke my heart. But you? She smiled. You got your mama's spine. For 8 weeks, Amanda was there. Cooking, cleaning, driving me to PT appointments, being family. Physical therapy was brutal. 3 days a week, 2 hours each session. My therapist, Marcus, was relentless. 10 more steps, Victoria. You can do this. I hate you. You'll thank me when you're running. He was right. By August, I was walking without crutches. By September, I was walking without a limp. By October, I was jogging. Slowly, painfully, but jogging. November 10th, 6 months post-surgery. I walked into Desert Wellness Clinic for my first day back. Part-time, 4 hours a day, but back. My coworkers had decorated my office, balloons, welcome back Victoria banner, cake, and Lily was there, the little girl I'd promised would run again, who I'd been treating before my accident. She was 8 now, fully recovered. She ran to me, hugged my legs. Ms. Victoria, you're walking, just like me. We ran a lap around the clinic together, her laughing, me crying happy tears. This was why I fought. Not for revenge, for this moment, for the ability to keep my promises. December 1st. My physical therapist cleared me for unrestricted activity. No more limitations, Victoria. You're at 100%. I walked out of that appointment, stood in the parking lot, and just breathed. 6 months ago, I thought I'd lose my leg. Now I was whole. Not because of my father, not because of my settlement, because I fought for myself, because Rachel fought for me, because Jennifer believed in justice, because Helen risked her career, because Amanda showed up, because chosen family is stronger than blood. I moved into my own apartment, 1 bedroom, near the clinic, Mountain View. First night there, I cooked dinner, simple pasta, nothing fancy, invited Rachel and Jennifer. We sat on the floor, I didn't have furniture yet, and ate from paper plates. Jennifer raised her plastic cup of wine. To Victoria, who stood up when they tried to push her down, Rachel raised hers. To boundaries, I raised mine. To chosen family, to standing up, to surviving people who thought you were too broken to fight back. We clicked plastic cups, and I felt it. The thing I'd been chasing for 6 months. Peace. May 2026, I'm running a 5K charity race. Phoenix Strong, supporting accident survivors. My time, 32 minutes, 18 seconds. Not fast, but I finished. Rachel crosses the finish line with me. We'd agreed to run it together. The announcer calls my name, Victoria Hayes, survivor, physical therapist, and founder of the Sarah Hayes Foundation. Applause. Cheers. The foundation, named after my mother. Mission: provide legal aid and financial advocacy for accident victims facing family financial abuse. Partnership with Jennifer's firm. 3 cases taken on so far. 2 won, 1 pending. We're small, but we're helping. April 2026. A letter arrives. Handwritten. Kenneth Hayes, return address. I hold it for 5 minutes. Rachel's having coffee with me. Aren't you curious? No. Closure doesn't come from the people who hurt you. It comes from moving forward. I put the letter in a drawer. Label it past. Close the drawer. I maintain 1 family connection. Aunt Susan. Monthly lunch. Just us. She updates me without me asking. Kenneth's doing okay. Working as a financial consultant. Small clients. He's in therapy. He asks about you. I nod. Brenda's in California. Divorced the real estate guy already. Remarried again. Some tech investor. I sip my coffee. Austin's back in school. Community college. Business degree. He's apparently doing well. Good for him. Susan looks at me. You don't want to know more? I have compassion for their struggles. But compassion and reconciliation aren't the same thing. I can wish them well from a distance. That's very mature. No, it's self-preservation. I started therapy after the trial. 18 months of sessions with Dr. Linda Warren. Last session was March 2026. You've processed your trauma, Victoria. You're not just surviving anymore. You're living. What's the difference? Survivors react to their past. Living people create their future. You're creating. She was right. I wasn't defined by what they did to me. I was defined by what I did next. Final scene. May 2026. My apartment balcony. Sunrise, coffee, journal. I write. This isn't a story about money. It's a story about worth. Worth isn't what your family assigns you. Worth is what you claim for yourself. Dad didn't take my ability to stand. He just showed me who I was standing next to, and who deserved to be there. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Boundaries are love. Love for yourself, protection for your future, refusal to be convenient instead of cherished. They thought I was weak because I needed crutches, but strength isn't in your legs, it's in your spine, in your voice, in your refusal to be gaslight into silence. I learned, the family that shows up matters more than the family you're born into. Blood is an accident of birth. Chosen family is a decision of the heart. And I chose well. I close the journal. Look out at the mountains. The sunrise is pink and gold. Beautiful. I'm 33 now, healthy, working full-time, building a nonprofit, surrounded by people who love me because they choose to, not because they have to. Dad didn't take my ability to stand up. He taught me who's worth standing beside, and the answer? Myself. First and always, myself. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to choose between keeping peace and keeping yourself, please share it. Someone in your life might need permission to set boundaries. Someone might need to hear, you're not selfish for protecting yourself. You're not cruel for walking away from people who exploit you. You're not betraying family by choosing your own survival. Boundaries aren't betrayal. They're the truest form of self-love. Thank you for staying with me through this story. If you've learned anything, let me know in the comments. What boundaries do you need to set? What family patterns do you need to break? Let's talk about it. Because you deserve to stand up. Even if you have to do it alone, especially then.